Who's ready to land their dream job? Hey guys, it's Study with Jess, your #1 go-to source of support to help you stay organised, study and work smarter, and live well. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 7 interview tips to help you land your dream job. And this is the last video in my work and internship themed mini-series. So I hope you guys have really been enjoying, and if you have, then please leave your comments down below and let me know what you thought. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let's get started. Alright, now the first thing I wanted to talk about is when you go in for an interview, they're most likely going to ask you that one dreaded question of, tell me, what are your weaknesses? And nobody likes to answer this question because often we think about personality traits or our flaws, and it can be quite uncomfortable. But the idea with this question is, in an interview setting, you want to share with them weaknesses that are related to the workforce and that are not personality traits. So they're not things that are fixed that you just cannot change. And if you tell them that you are stubborn, then they know that, okay, right, if we hire this person, they're going to always be stubborn and it's going to be hard to work with them. You want to be really specific about situations in previous roles where you think that perhaps you could do things differently and better. So for example, for me, thinking back to times where I've worked in groups, sometimes I can appear a little bit more dominant or controlling because I talk a lot, and it means that other people don't have the opportunity to speak up and share their ideas or opinions. So something that I'm trying to be mindful of in a group setting is to sort of hold back a little bit and allow other people the opportunity to speak up, and that way they're also able to contribute. So I know that a weakness of mine can sometimes be in group settings to take over, but it's something that I'm really working on and I'm really mindful of in those kind of situations. Now, in sharing that story with an employer, I'm able to show self-awareness because I'm thinking really carefully about my previous behaviors and actions and the sort of impact that that can have in a future role with them. Tip number 2 is to be flexible and open-minded. Now, it might be that when you get into the interview, there are some different tasks that they want you to do when fulfilling this position that maybe you weren't aware of, or the hours are a little bit different, or the availability has changed. So avoid walking into the interview and telling them that you only want to do these kind of tasks, or you only want to work this many hours, or you really want to find a job that means you can leave at 5 o'clock on the dot. Just allow them to explain what the role involves and try and see yourself fulfilling those requirements. Don't be too rigid or closed-minded right from the beginning. You really need to just hear them out and show that you're really up for the job. Tip number 3 is to bring the right kind of energy. So what you say is really important, but how you say it is equally as important. Be mindful of your tone, your body language. Make sure that you appear relaxed. I know that sometimes you might feel a little bit nervous as we walk into an interview, and that's really normal, but just be mindful of how you place your hands and don't cross your arms, or be mindful of where your eye gaze is, not always looking down and making that eye contact, or that you don't talk too quickly, otherwise you might appear quite frazzled, or that you don't talk too quickly because you might appear a little bit frazzled. If you give off this vibe and appear centered and calm, then the employer is going to feed off of your energy. They're most likely going to feel really comfortable around you and see you as having it all together and want to work with you and want to be around you more. So if you're struggling with nerves, try and do some deep breathing before you enter the interview, and also remind yourself that you're there because you have something to offer. So think back to your qualifications and also think about what you want to gain from this position. Know that they're also here to fulfill something for you too. Tip number 4 is don't just talk at them. This is not your chance just to talk about yourself and ramble on. It's also about being aware of what the employer is looking for. So let them know, I'm aware that you're looking for someone to do the following tasks. And this way, it makes them feel more involved in the conversation. And you also have the opportunity afterwards to link it back to your qualifications, and you're explaining to them how you can fulfill their needs, how you can ease their anxiety, how you can add value to their business. You're taking into consideration the kind of concerns that they have, and also letting them know that you're aware of the needs that they want to have met. And that tip leads on to the next one, which is to come to the rescue. This is your chance to explain to them and spell out why you are the perfect person to come and meet all of these needs, that you can fulfill all of these requirements, and that you can come to the rescue and make sure that all of the things that they need to have completed in order for their business to keep running, that you are very capable of doing all of those things. So just remember that that employer sitting right opposite you, that is a real person who's just in need of some help and trying to grow their business and keep things running. So how can you come in and add value and be part of their amazing team? Tip number 6 is to keep your stories relevant. And I did briefly touch on this in a previous video, but I'm going to say it again because it's really important. The resume at the very end is where you can talk a little bit about your hobbies. And if they ask you specifically to talk about your personal life in the interview, then you can. But when they ask you to tell them about yourself, it's really your chance to talk more about your qualifications and your skills that are relevant for this position, and not to get too into the personal side of things, because you only have a really short amount of time to let these people get a feel of whether you can fill this criteria for a particular role. And you don't really want to spend 5 or even 10 minutes of that time, even 3 or 2 minutes, talking about things that are irrelevant and aren't going to help to increase your chance of getting that job. And tip number 7, remember this guys, every employer is looking for employees that want to be there every day, that are really keen, that aren't just able to tick all of the boxes as far as the skills go, but that really want to be there and be part of this work environment. So follow up with them and let them know how much you enjoyed meeting with them, learning more about their business or company. And if you have a really well thought out question that perhaps wasn't addressed in the interview, then maybe that would be a good time to ask them. It's just another way to connect with the employer again. It leaves them with a lasting impression. And as I mentioned, this is something that a friend of mine did and she always got the job, just saying. Please comment below what is one thing that you always do in an interview, or if you haven't actually gone in for an interview in the past, then what was your favorite tip that I shared with you today? Alright guys, that's all for today. I will see you next week with another video, and don't forget to check out this whole mini series. It's a clickable card up above, like a little white dot. You can click it and watch any of the videos that you might have missed, and don't forget to subscribe as well. Alright, I'll see you next week with another video. Mwah! Bye guys!